The movie commences with a birthday celebration in honor of Claire. Casey, one of Claire's classmates, receives an invitation out of sympathy, as Claire confides in her father that Casey often finds herself in trouble with teachers, leading to detention. When Casey attempts to arrange a ride home, she's informed that the car has malfunctioned. Although she contemplates taking the bus, Claire's father insists on accompanying her home. The girls depart, accompanied by their friend Marcia. As they leave, an unidentified individual approaches Claire's father. Shortly afterward, this person, identified as Kevin, enters the car. Initially, Claire assumes it's a case of mistaken identity, but Kevin dons a mask and sprays the girls with a mysterious toxin that renders them unconscious. While Casey cautiously tries to unlock the door in an attempt to escape, Kevin subdues her as well. Kevin leads the girls into a room devoid of windows, its location a complete mystery. He singles out Marcia and escorts her outside. After a fleeting interval, Marcia returns, visibly shaken and having had an accident. She discloses that Kevin insisted she dance for him. Claire asserts that they must unite and mount a collective effort to escape. In contrast, Casey maintains a composed demeanor, suggesting that they should first ascertain the purpose behind their presence before plotting any actions. In a flashback scene, we are taken back to when Casey was just 5 years old. She is in the company of her father and her uncle John, both of whom are avid hunters. They impart the art of hunting to young Casey. During this instructional moment, her father shares a hunting anecdote involving a deer, recounting how he was once diverted by an impressive buck. Dr. Karen Fletcher, a therapist, tunes into a news report detailing the disappearance of 3 girls, along with the unsettling revelation that Claire's father woke up to discover both the girls and his car missing. Just as she absorbs this troubling news, Karen receives an urgent email from an individual named Barry, indicating the need for an immediate conversation. Barry, one of Kevin's numerous personalities, assumes the persona of a sketch artist with a thick Boston accent. In this alter, he regularly meets with Karen for therapy sessions. Meanwhile, the girls persist in their efforts to find an escape route. They peer through a slender crack in the door, spotting what seems to be a woman engaged in conversation with their captor, who's just an alter of Kevin all this time, named Dennis. Claire and Marcia call out to the woman, seeking help. She approaches the door, but it's revealed to be Kevin dressed in a skirt and high heels. This particular alter goes by the name Patricia and adopts a polite British persona. Patricia reassures the girls that their captor understands the reason for their presence and emphasizes that he is forbidden from harming them. Karen participates in a Skype conference where she delves into her patients' cases, a majority of whom grapple with dissociative identity disorder, among them Kevin. During her presentation, Karen elaborates on how certain identities possess unique abilities that other alters may lack. She also discusses her ability to discern which personality has taken the forefront, often referred to as coming to the light or being in control. Karen further explains that individuals with DID can influence their body chemistry through their thoughts, highlighting the profound impact their mental state can have on their physical well-being. The girls encounter another alter known as Hedwig, who exhibits the characteristics of a 9-year-old boy. Hedwig confides that Patricia and Dennis, the personas who had captured the girls, are upset with him and that he's in trouble. Casey engages Hedwig in conversation, attempting to persuade him that Patricia and Dennis remain angry with him and that he needs to help them. Hedwig eventually leaves, giving the girls an opportunity to search for an escape route within the walls. As they explore, Claire discovers a hollow section in the ceiling and begins to break away the plaster. Just as Hedwig starts to return, Casey and Marcia hold the door to prevent his entry while Claire endeavors to crawl through the vents. Kevin switches back to his Dennis persona as Claire inches her way through the ventilation system. She eventually finds an exit and makes a dash for assistance. Hiding in a locker, her trembling breath inadvertently betrays her presence, and Dennis locates her. He instructs Claire to remove her shirt due to its dirtiness and subsequently locks her in a room by herself. During another therapy session with Karen, Kevin adopts the persona of Barry. However, Karen begins to doubt whether she is truly speaking to Barry. She has observed certain traits in Barry's behavior, such as symptoms of OCD, which are typically associated with other alters like Dennis. Barry asserts that he has improved and is doing better. Karen brings up the fact that Kevin has a total of 23 distinct identities. As she mentions the possibility of a 24th identity, the Beast, Kevin shifts into his Dennis alter. Dennis confirms the existence of the Beast and affirms that it is indeed a real and significant part of Kevin's identity. Patricia accompanies Casey and Marcia to grab some food. There, Marcia is compelled to remove her skirt, while Casey sheds her flannel shirt. They enter a dining room where Patricia begins to prepare sandwiches. However, Patricia grows agitated when he accidentally cuts one of the sandwiches unevenly. prompting him to start over. Seeing an opening, Marcia seizes a chair and strikes Patricia in the back with it. She then flees in search of help, and Casey attempts to make her escape as well. However, Patricia catches Casey and issues an order for her to retreat to her room. Eventually, Marcia is also apprehended and confined to a room by herself. Karen and her assistant, Jai, meticulously analyze security footage from the exterior of the building. They observe a knocked-over trash bin with its contents scattered across the ground. While one couple carefully navigates around the mess, Dennis boldly strides right through it. Karen discerns this as a deliberate act, further heightening her suspicion. Hedwig engages Casey in a playful conversation, expressing a desire to share a kiss, to which she reluctantly agrees, albeit with some awkwardness. Hedwig then discusses his music collection, revealing his fondness for dancing to Kanye West's tunes. Casey seizes the opportunity to inquire about seeing his room and exploring his music collection. Curiously, she mentions a window situated near his music setup, but it turns out to be a drawing of a closed window overlaying an open one. As Casey subtly hints at her intention to escape, Hedwig begins to catch on. This realization frightens Casey, and she tries to reassure him. In response, Hedwig produces a walkie-talkie, which Casey swiftly seizes to call for help while attempting to fend off Hedwig. However, Patricia emerges and retrieves the walkie-talkie from her grasp. We witness another flashback featuring little Casey during a hunting trip. In the absence of her father, Uncle John begins to express a desire to play. He disrobes to his underwear and suggests to Casey that they shed their clothes as well, citing the notion that animals don't wear garments. Subsequently, John reappears from behind a boulder only to discover Casey aiming a rifle in his direction. With some quick maneuvering, he successfully retrieves the rifle from her grasp just before she can squeeze the trigger. Claire and Marcia make an effort to break free by using a wire to unlock the door from outside Marcia's room. However, their attempt proves futile. Meanwhile, Karen pays a visit to Kevin's residence and is welcomed by Dennis. She accepts his invitation to come inside, and they engage in a conversation about the Beast and the Horde, which refers to the dominant personalities that influence Kevin, includes Dennis, Barry, Patricia, and Hedwig. As the conversation progresses, Karen's fear becomes palpable. She eventually steps outside and discovers Claire trapped in her room, but before she can offer assistance, Dennis intervenes and pulls Karen away from the scene. He then proceeds on his meeting with the Beast. Casey stumbles upon a laptop containing videos showcasing each of Kevin's distinct identities. Among them, she discovers one named Orwell, engaging in philosophical discussions, and another known as Jade, who reveals her diabetic condition. Meanwhile, Dennis retreats to an abandoned train car, where he meets the Beast. Here he commences his final altered transformation. In this formidable form, he stands notably taller and possesses unparalleled strength compared to his other personas. Upon returning home, he encounters Karen, who is in the midst of writing something on a piece of paper. She hastily seizes a small knife as the Beast walks towards her. In a desperate bid to defend herself, Karen attempts to stab him, but the knife shatters upon contact. The Beast then exerts his immense power, crushing Karen until her spine snaps, resulting in her tragic demise. Casey locates the keys on her room with the help from the videos of Kevin hinting its location. Casey emerges from her confinement, determined to locate the other girls. Her search leads her to the lifeless body of Marcia, her abdomen gruesomely torn open. The grim discovery sends a shiver down her spine. Continuing her quest, Casey stumbles upon Claire, who miraculously remains alive. However, before she can assist her friend, the monstrous form of the Beast seizes Claire and begins to sink its teeth into her stomach. Amid the chaos, Casey spots a piece of paper that Karen had written on. It bears a chilling message: say his name, Kevin Wendell Crumb. Summoning her courage, Casey confronts the Beast and repeatedly calls out his full name, triggering a remarkable transformation. In a brief flashback, we catch a glimpse of Kevin's childhood, with his mother scolding him by using his full name and berating him for making a mess. In the present, Kevin has no recollection of his recent actions. Casey solemnly informs him that he has inadvertently killed Karen, Claire, and Marcia. With a sense of urgency, Kevin instructs Casey to find a gun in one of the cabinets and urges her to end his life. The various dominant identities within him begin to wrest control simultaneously. Casey, gripped by terror, flees as the Beast's presence intensifies, threatening to return once more. Casey discovers some ammunition and deftly loads it into the gun. In the ensuing chaos, the Beast launches a vicious attack on Casey, tearing her shirt and sinking his teeth into her leg. Through sheer determination, Casey manages to break free from his grip. Just as she prepares to confront the Beast, he begins crawling along the ceiling, systematically extinguishing the lights, plunging the room into darkness and leaving Casey with no clear target. She hastily barricades herself inside a cage and hurriedly reloads the gun with additional shells. She shoots the beast with the shotgun, but it didn't penetrate its body. The beast relentlessly attempts to bend the bars and gain access. However, his attention is diverted when he notices a multitude of scars on Casey's body. Another poignant flashback surfaces, depicting a young Casey at her father's funeral, with John assuring her that he will become her new guardian. In response to this revelation, the beast makes a startling proclamation, recognizing Casey as pure-hearted. Astonishingly, he chooses to depart, leaving Casey unharmed and alone in her sanctuary. Shortly thereafter, a man descends the stairs and discovers Casey. With care and concern, he lifts her and carries her to safety outside. Once outdoors, Casey takes in her surroundings and notices a multitude of animals within an enclosure. Medical professionals promptly arrive on the scene and tend to Casey's needs. Meanwhile, Kevin is isolated, completely under the sway of the horde. Patricia confidently asserts that the beast will now serve as their protector. In the final scene, we find ourselves in a diner where patrons are glued to a news report detailing Kevin's actions. The anchorwoman remarks how the beast persona exhibits traits reminiscent of the animals from the enclosure where he once worked. A diner's conversation shifts to a similar case involving a man in a wheelchair from 15 years earlier. As the name escapes her memory, a fellow diner chimes in.
Mr. Glass.
To everyone's surprise, it's David Dunn, reprising his role from Unbreakable. And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.